was on the island that is called Patmos, for the word of Elohim and for the testimony of Yahshua HaMashiach. I was in the Spirit on the day of Yahuwah, and I heard behind me a loud voice, as of a trumpet, saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. What you see, write in a book and send it to the 7 churches which are in Asia, to Ephesus, to Smyrna, to Pergamos, to Thyatira, to Sardis, to Philadelphia, and to Laodicea. Then I turned to see the voice that spoke with me, and having turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands, and in the midst of the 7 lampstands, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the feet, and girded about the chest with a golden band. His head and hair were like white wool, as white as snow, and his eyes like a flame of fire. His feet were like fine brass, as if refined in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters.
I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and what thou seest write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. Explanation. The Lord's Day was the February 5th, 1962 AD Grand Conjunction of the Sun and the other oils. This day was when NoopooH Sound Right Reason announced themselves to Alpha Uno mentally. The 7 churches were the 7 oils that aligned in that day, which is what we see here. All 7 orbs. It's all in the Aquarius. That's why they call it the Aquarian stellium. Or the Grand Conjunction, because you had these orbs here. It was a grand thing that happened so many years. Look into it. February 5th, 1962, Aquarius stellium, falsely called churches. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 candlesticks. Explanation. The 7 golden sticks were the 7 orbs, planets that aligned 60 years ago from February 5th, 2022 AD. Refer to the book Solar Cycles and the Coming of NoopooH. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girded about the paps with a golden girdle. Explanation. The one sitting in the midst of the golden candlesticks, the 7 planets, is our sun. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Explanation. The white as snow is speaking about the light from the sun, which is white. This is a scientific fact. What color is the sun? The color of the sun is white. The sun emits all colors of the rainbow more or less evenly, and in physics we call this combination white. That is why we can see so many different colors in the natural world under the illumination of sunlight. If sunlight were purely green, then everything outside will look green or dark. We can see the redness of a rose and the blueness of a butterfly wings under sunlight, because sunlight contains red and blue light. The same goes for all other colors. When a light bulb engineer designs a bulb that is supposed to mimic the sun and therefore provide natural illumination, he designs a white bulb, not a yellow bulb. The fact that you see all the fundamental colors present in a rainbow, which is sunlight, split by mist, and no colors are missing, is direct evidence that sunlight is white. Also, if you do more research outside of the planet Earth, the light is white. It is also a fact that our sun has hair, called granulation by mundane scientists. The same thing that the Ethiopian black race has is also called ʻflockuʻli, the scientific name for hair. The hair of the Ethiopian black African race also can be called granulation, and you can see the same rope similarities. And this is the rope ʻflockuʻli of the sun. This was taken June 4th, 1946, called solar prominence. This is in color. Look at the ropes of hair. This is a female with her hair roped, called dreads or locks, same thing with an Ethiopian male over here. You can see the similarities, the ropes in there. Sun people. Refer to our books. I will have books 1 and 2 on Lulu.com. You can search that under Tall Kingdom NoopooH. These are the 2 of the books you can get right here that will give you the scientific information and more in-depth explanation of our hair and as far as science goes. And his feet like unto fine brass if they burned in a furnace, and his voice at the sound of many waters. Explanation. Feet just means under the power of or vanquish from the Greek word pous. Vanquish means to conquer your enemy. So when NoopooH came in February 5th, 1962, meant that the moon cycle was over and sound right reason will help right versus wrong win, meaning the moon cycle was under its feet. This is deceptively altered in Revelation 12:1. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, and a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. In part, the deceptions that NoopooH are male and female energies are not a gender as far as a human being at this time. What the Bible editors did was use name plurality in reverse and combine all the female planets into one to hide that this was speaking about the February 5th, 1962 AD Aquarius stellium planetary alignment. Which is that here again, 1962 AD Grand Conjunction. Pous, masculine noun, a foot, the foot. It's a root word, foot, feet. Also, the sun has coronal mass ejection. It creates what is called kink oscillations. When you look at the top loop, it's just like the kinks or braids of the Ethiopian African black race hair. See? Kink oscillation. This is a kink. This is our hair kinked up. This is why they hate us so. Because we are way more than what the world has been taught under the negative forces of Zupu 6 ether. Notice the bottom of the loop is called a foot point. As the scripture said, he had feet. See? Foot point. Under the kink oscillation. The sun powers rest in our head. That's the footprint of the sun. See that? Marked us. That's the mark of the sun, baby. Love your hair. Stop perming y'all hair. Let your hair grow. And his voice is the sound of many waters, end quote. The scientific answer for this is the sun has what scientists call pressure waves in helioosmology. Helioosmology, term coined by Douglas Gow, is the study of the structure and dynamics of the sun through its oscillations. These are principally caused by sound waves that are continuously driven and damped by convection near the sun's surface. Is similar to geoseismology or astroseismology, also coined by Gow, which are respectively studies of the earth or stars through the oscillations. While the sun's oscillations were first detected in the early 60s, it was only in the mid-70s that it was realized that the oscillations propagated throughout the sun and could allow scientists to study the sun's deep interior. The modern field is separated into global helioosmology, which studies the sun's resonant modes directly, and local helioseismology, which studies the propagation of the component waves near the sun's surface. Once again, this is one of the reasons why Bill Gates and the rest of them was trying to block out the sun by spraying all these metal particles in the atmosphere to make the sun rays block and go back out into space, because they know that we are connected to the sun. This is scientific fact. All right? Please do some research and stop destroying your hair. That's your connection to the sun. They call it kink oscillation. Why? It's only one group of people on the earth who has naturally kink up. All right? We don't have to add mousse and twist it and let it sit. It naturally kinks up. All right? This is what they're calling it. All right? All right, is there anything else? Okay. Listen to sound right cosmic reason. The sun has oscillation, which means most common examples for oscillations are the tides in the sea and the movement of a simple pendulum and a clock. Another example of oscillation is the movement of spring. The vibration of strings and guitars and other string instruments are also examples of oscillation. The pendulum moves back and forth, and hence it creates an oscillating movement. Mechanical oscillations are called vibrations. A particle being vibrated means it oscillates between 2 points about its central point. Once again, this is why when we move or oscillate, when we dance, oscillate, when we play basketball, sports, oscillate, vibration, movement, sound, frequency. What else? The music, the harmony, all of these different things that we bring life, because the sun represents life, and we have powers of the sun in our bone marrow that comes up through our hair. That's why if you remove us out of anything that everybody else created, there's no what? Oscillation. There's no movement. If we stop doing music, there's no movement. You take us out of sports, there's no movement. You take us out of anything, that's like taking the sun out of anything. It will be no movement. It will be death. Oscillation also deals in sound as well, which proves that the sun sends messages to black people with kinky hair because he has kinky hair as well. Let this be remembered well.
The sun created us the exact same way that the stars function on the outside. So I'm gonna give you an example. The example is the human body is the perfect form we would be reflected as in the universe, and the suns reflected the same thing on this planet. Remember, the suns need a blueprint in order to create something on the planet, and we are the most intelligent people on the planet, being African people with kinky hair. The sun also has kinky hair, meaning that there's a particular thing on the sun called ʻflockuʻli. ʻflockuʻli mean in the dictionary, it means tuft of wool. And who are the people on the planet with woolly hair? Basically the melanated people, the African people with kinky hair. So the sun is a reflection, or we are a reflection rather, or basically the product of suns. So that's why people say we're sun people, and things like that. Even the way our hair coils, they coil into what we would call solenoids. And solenoids allows electromagnetic energy to be absorbed. That's why if you go into anybody that studies electrician work and electricity, and basically they use coils to produce more energy and more electricity. So our hair produces more energy and more electricity. Our skin cells, which are the melanocytes, burn the hair that comes out of the skin on our head, and it coils the skin because we produce more electricity and more heat. Neuromelanin or the eumelanin is hotter than the pheomelanin. Pheomelanin creates red hair, brown hair, but eumelanin and neuromelanin creates the kinky, hot, brown or black hair that most Africans have on their heads. So what we're seeing in the universe is the same thing that we're seeing inside of our bodies. So this is why when you look at the calendar, you see different organs going around, and each star reflects the main star for each one of those constellations reflect what's going on in the body. For instance, the liver constellation has a main star called Zebin Shemali. And Zebin Shemali, know if that star is white or is green. So how do we know it's white and not green? Well, when they look at it, they see that the star is actually producing the green oxygen or green material around itself. And basically inside of the body, our liver creates a green substance called bile, which is high concentrated oxygen that removes toxins from the body. And it helps to cleanse and purify. So that star named Zebin Shemali is also creating green oxygen and helping to remove toxins from the nearby stars and helping to clean and purify our particular part of the galaxy. So as above, so below was just not something to be said in Africa, but more or less letting us know that what was in the stars were also inside of our bodies. Answer the question.
You know, but all that stuff, I would say you do it.
I'm sorry? Hey.
A lot of things said. I think it's
your mic. I don't. Maybe you hear him. Truthfully, you hear him a little better. The accent.
My check.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm saying that you guys are saying you're new science, right?
Correct.
And science, we're talking about science. So that means it's not about belief systems and things like that. We have to work off of science. So some of the things that you're saying, I think falls along the lines of the theory as opposed to being a scientific fact. So by just
like what? No, I'm at like specifically. What is it that you think is a theory?
I mean, let's say the sun has kinky hair, or the origin. I mean, how long man has been on the planet, conscious and civilized. You know what I'm saying? Just I mean, a lot of that stuff was as a person had never heard that before. I know they would be like, damn, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I've heard it before. No one tells her. So, yeah. I mean, can I see some science to back up some of the stuff that you said?
All right. Well, what is hair? Now let's go to what hair is, right? And the first thing we have to understand that hair is an antenna. The reason being, and I'm gonna explain why it's an antenna. Now, what causes hair to grow and what is at the end of hair? The end of the hair at the follicle is the nerve, right? So even like if you pluck a piece of hair out of your skin, let's say you just pluck a piece of hair out of your skin, then your skin gonna start to bleed, or it's gonna swell up because it's connected to a nerve. You understand what I'm saying? So that nerve is connected to your nervous system, right? Which is also connected to the brain, and your brain is also an antenna as well. It receives information and it processes information. So because these nerves are connected to your brain and that hair is connected to your nerve, it's also an exterior antenna. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when you go on the sun and you analyze the sun, you will see that the sun has antennas as well. And those antennas are called ʻflockuʻli. Now, when these antennas flare up, they're called prominences, right? And these prominences do what? They give off electromagnetic energy. This is why when they say there's a huge solar flare coming off of the sun and towards Earth, it can what? It can mess up the electromagnetic field of the planet. All right. So those flares are coming from under the surface and coming to the surface of the sun and coiling themselves. And the larger the coil, the more that you will see more electromagnetic energy coming from the sun. Now the ancients, not myself, people who named this part of the sun called it ʻfloccuʻli, which is wool or a tuft of wool. And these ʻfloccuʻli or electromagnetic energy that spin off of the sun.
When you say is that Greek? You see what I'm saying, brother? I don't. That's why I can't. For me, for instance, because we're speaking these languages and doing some things. When you say ʻfloccuʻli, that's Greek.
No, the reason why I'm using that word is because what other word are we going to use, Chief?
That's my point. That's my point, though, bro. We use words that they created. And I'm saying that's what they're talking about. We can't do it.
Yeah, but the thing is,
did they chart that? Did they make that up? You know what I'm saying?
The mic is messed up, Chief.
I'm saying
Mic is
a million years ago, or 2 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago.
what I'm saying to you is but that's what I'm saying. You ask for the scientific side behind the hair and the ʻfloccuʻli on the sun, but you're looking at the word and not looking at the scientific aspect about the electromagnetic energy and also the coil that the sun makes when it's giving off these prominences. Now you're going back to the word, but I'm telling you that the word goes back to an original meaning, and that original meaning means wool. Now, who is the only race on the planet that has this hair that kinks or coils like wool? That's the African race. So no matter the word that they use, if you look at the sun scientifically, physically, and just looking at it and studying the sun, you will see this same wool. Now, if they named it something else and that something else meant straight hair, that would mean that they incorrectly named part of the sun. You understand what I'm saying? Just like when I was breaking down the Ursa Minor with the little bear and the big bear, I had to correct it, right? Meaning that I had to let you know, okay, they tricked us into thinking it was an animal bear when really it meant bearing the weight of the body. So you see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that some things may be true. In order for something to be pseudo, it has to have some kind of truth to it, or for somebody to believe it. So there's aspects of religion that's still true. You understand what I'm saying? But they mix the falsehood within the religion, and that's what makes it a religion. So what I'm telling you is that I'm correcting what's taking place. The same thing with the zodiac. I'm correcting what they've done. They've given us the pseudo-scientific version. I'm giving you the version in which it actually reflects in the universe. I'm giving you the scientific aspect. I'm giving you the etymological aspect. All the aspects that you need not believe what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. You're looking at the word ʻfloccuʻli, but you're not looking at the scientific aspect of how the sun is actually producing hair on its surface. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not the hair that we see on our bodies the same way we don't see those particular organs within the universe. It's not going to look exactly the way how you may want it to look. Like, okay, how come I don't see blood? How come I don't see blood in the universe?
So let me ask you a question. So would this be a metaphorical?
Right?
Meaning that our ancestors, like, you know, our ancestors talked in metaphors and did certain things, right?
Yeah, they did a lot of things symbolically.
Okay, so are you saying that the universe and the constellations and all these things are metaphorically like this? You see what I'm saying? And this is this is the better understand ourselves. We just I thought his sister would just basically say, okay, this is how we
Can
get
you
this
repeat the
thing.
question for me?
I'm saying, do you think that this is more of a story? But not
You
necessarily
said is it more of a metaphor?
yeah, more of a metaphor, as opposed to like say the song.
No, no. This is an actual fact. The same way blood, so ether, the what we would call sunshine. Sunshine and heat and blood is the same thing as ether. You understand what I'm saying? It's the liquid plasma heat that we're seeing coming off of the sun. The sun has blood as well. It's not going to be the all right. I'll give you an example. Is chlorophyll blood? Yeah.
Yeah, but when you say club, before plant, it would be.
Is chlorophyll blood to a plant?
Yes.
Plant, but you're not going to see it as the same blood as a human being. That's my point. We're not gonna look at the universe and say, how come it's not red and flowing like liquid? You understand what I'm saying? So I can't say that chlorophyll is metaphorically blood. It is blood to a plant. The same way the ʻflockuʻli is hair to the sun. You may not look at it as hair because it doesn't look like the same keratin and the same type of structure that is built to be. You understand what I'm saying? The same way how the horns of a ram is a bone, but we don't look at a horn as a bone. We look and we call it a horn. You understand what I'm saying? But it is a bone that's protruding out of the ram's head. It's an extension of the ram's head, which is the head is also a bone. So the bone is growing more bone that we see on the outside. So just because we call chlorophyll the blood of a plant does not mean that it's not blood or it's symbolic. It is the blood of a plant. The same way ether is the blood of suns. And the same way ʻflockuʻli is the hair of the suns. So I'm just trying to help you understand that it's not belief that this is occurring. It's just that we're not viewing it that way. The same way I'm giving you the constellations and letting you know that the constellations basically react the same way as the human bodies react. And I'm giving the whole breakdown. I can't give you all of the breakdown tonight, but in later times, I'm going to give you the whole breakdown of how they act exactly the same way how the human bodies act. And they also look the same way how the human bodies look. If you look at the calendar, you'll see they look the same way. Same way as well. Same thing with, like, for instance, the skeletal, which is the Taurus. The main star there is called Aldebaran. Aldebaran is creating something called titanium oxide. What is titanium oxide? Titanium oxide helps to make bones stronger. Would a star be creating titanium oxide? Because it's strengthening the bones of the universe. We don't view it as the bones. But why would a star create titanium oxide as opposed to all the other stars that are not particularly creating titanium oxide? That's because titanium oxide is what's reflecting of that particular constellation. You understand what I'm saying? So we're not going to look at the stars the same way we look at the human body and say, hey, it's not creating this red liquid called blood. It's creating ether. Ether is blood. You understand what I'm saying? I hope I'm not confusing you, but I try to give you the correlation between a plant and also a human being. Chlorophyll is the same thing as blood to a plant, just like plasma is the same thing. And what they call blood, they call blood plasma. What does the sun produce? Plasma. It's the same thing.
MC Dave ID on the beat.